Visitors and viewers, please welcome the host of my guest at this time, Jose Gonzalez.
Hey everybody, welcome back to my guest at this time. Jose Gonzalez here. It is so great to see you guys for the special Thanksgiving Survivor Series WrestleCade edition of the show. I figured we needed to have someone who can only be described as stunning, a champion perhaps too, FWE Women's Champion. You might know her from the Star City. Emily Jaye is here. Emily, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm so good. We've been meaning to do this for so long. I'm glad that you finally found time in your very busy schedule because you are everywhere.
Everywhere, up and down the East Coast. Got some Texas coming up soon, so...
I know, exciting things. And I mean, we always got to kind of start with the early beginnings. So, I mean, what got you into this crazy little thing we call wrestling?
It's actually from Maria Kanellis' Playboy offer. That's what got me started. And now, I look at her as a role model. She is the sweetest human ever, has helped me so much in wrestling, in and outside of it. And, it's crazy to me to think that she's the reason this all started. And now I am an actual professional wrestler and living my dream. And I pretty much owe it all to her for being me.
No, that is incredible. I mean, Maria is one of those unsung people that does not get all the recognition they deserve. Aside from the Diva Search stuff and even when she was starting to branch out on her own, along with Mike Bennett and everything, she's definitely someone that deserves a lot more flowers than she normally gets. So it's exciting to know that someone as young as you have found inspiration, and that of all things too. I mean, you're only at the ripe age of 20, for God's sake.
Yes, I'm a little baby.
I mean, it's crazy to find inspiration in something as trivial as Playboy, especially with how WWE's distanced themselves since. But I mean, aside from that, were there any early matches you think that you go back to? It's oh yeah, no, this also kind of got me into it.
I fell in and out of love with wrestling a little bit after Maria left, because she was the main reason I was watching. And then when she left, I was oh my God, what am I going to do? So then around this time was when the Bellas were feuding with AJ Lee and Paige. And that was a big match for me that I loved. I also fell back in love with wrestling with Sasha Banks versus Bayley at TakeOver. That match immediately made me fall back in love, and it sparked my interest back up and my love for wrestling back up. And I really go back and watch that match so many times because I see the love and the passion that they had for it. And it brings my love and passion out with the match.
I don't think you could have a more picture perfect storyline, passion, emotion driven match like that one from TakeOver.
Oh
Brooklyn.
yeah,
so that's a great choice. I mean, were you on Twitter around the times of those matches? Because I know that's Give Divas a Chance era, and you've definitely had quite a large social media presence as well too. So,
oh yes, I was on during that time. I'm trying to think of what my at was. It might have been Tana's Bliss around that time. That was such an iconic at name I had.
Not Tana's Bliss. Oh, gosh. The Stan Twitter name, and it's even for a YouTuber, not even wrestling. So you were in deep.
I was in very deep. Still a huge Tana Mojo fan. Love her. She's great.
Yeah, I was going to say, didn't you just meet Tana this year?
I did. It took us about 10 years to actually meet, but literally would not have traded that experience for the world. She's amazing. She's a little problematic sometimes, but Lord, love that girl to death. When I told her I was a wrestler now, she literally, her face lit up and was like, "Can I please be your manager? Please?" What do I got to do? I was like, "Oh God, girl." I don't know.
I mean, that'd be a sight for sore eyes too, just seeing her ringside trying to get involved in stuff too. So I don't know. Maybe we're putting that out into the universe. Tana, accompany Emily to a match. You never know.
Please. I'm begging, please.
I mean, if Logan Paul can win the U.S. title, Tana Mojo can walk you out to the ring.
Exactly. Exactly.
I mean, what is 2023 anyways? But yeah, I mean, definitely starting out as a fan first, you definitely really have shown that you've been able to translate to the other side as a performer as well. So, I mean, when did you first decide that you wanted to really get serious about training and learning how to wrestle?
I was about like 16 probably, and I was already looking up schools that I could go to because like in the state of Virginia to actually wrestle on a show you have to be 18, but like in North Carolina it's like 13 or 14, I'm pretty sure.
Oh,
Like
wow.
you can be pretty young and it's crazy. And so at 16 I was looking up schools I could go to, and then I found one my senior year of high school. And it the biggest advice I can say is always do your research on a school. Always, please. Thankfully, I left that school and went to Flatbacks with Shawn Spears and Tyler Breeze. Best decision I could have made for my career. But definitely like 16 was when I started to get very serious about it.
Yeah, and I mean, you come from a cheerleading background too. So, how did some of that ability translate with helping you navigate the ring?
It was almost the same as cheer because I'm used to spacing a lot in cheer. And somehow I was the only person to be able to do rolls correctly because I had to do them in cheer all the time. So when we had to do rolls for warm-ups, I'm the only person that was like on it. Like I was ready. And like with cheer and wrestling, I put them hand in hand together for me because they both require the same amount of energy, same amount of effort. I work my schedule around those two. And when I didn't have cheer, I was like, okay, I'm 110% making wrestling full time. That's what I want to do in life.
That's phenomenal. And I mean, we've seen a lot of success come from people from Flatbacks. I think of Kiana James in NXT, who's rocking it right now. So how was relocating to Florida for those couple months in a training camp kind of style for going to school rather than kind of a traditional, like, hey, it's a local school, I'll go a couple times a week. You were full time for about 2 months straight.
Yes, it was a lot to adjust to because Flatbacks is an amazing school. Would recommend that school to anybody that has any interest in being a pro wrestler. They teach you the ins and outs of wrestling. They teach you all the basics. They teach you promo skills. It's an amazing school. But when I was down there, it was like 5 days a week for 4 hours on end in Florida heat in the middle of summer with no AC. So it was very rough. But I learned more about myself during that time and how far I could push myself during that time because they broke me down completely, but they also built me back up with it. And that's why I am the person I am today, is because of that school.
No, it's phenomenal to hear too, because I know we've seen bits and pieces of it. I immediately think of Chris Danger, who recently just had his debut at DPW Pro debut.
I was there.
Who actually had that phenomenal documentary about Flatbacks. So
yes,
it's crazy to see like just how far people that have really always been historically fans or like created outside of the ring have been able to like be serious and make those moves because of a school like Flatbacks.
and like that documentary that Chris made, I love Chris to death. He is an amazing person. I'm so proud of him. I was so happy to be there for his debut. I made sure I was there for his debut. And it was amazing to me to see that the surprise was Mr. Shawn Spears himself. And so that was amazing to see. Chris's documentary, I show that to anybody that thinks like wrestling isn't all that. Like you can just go in there and do whatever. I show them that documentary because that documentary shows how rough it is to just go through the training part, not even just a match, just the training part.
No, I feel like you definitely have to be built different to make it in something like wrestling too. And I mean, we've been able to see just how much you've done over the course of a year and a half. I mean, you only had your debut match last summer, which is crazy to think of. So, I mean, how did that even come about? I think it was George South's birthday show.
Yes. It was actually very last minute that was supposed to happen. So I went down to North Carolina the night before that show. And because a lot of my friends were booked on a show that they were running, so I went down there and supported them. And my friend, Ella Envy, looked at someone that runs one of the shows and goes, "Hey, do y'all have like a women's match for tomorrow?" And they're like, "No. Do y'all want to wrestle?" And that's how my first match came about. It ended up being a triple threat between me, Ella Envy, and Brittany Jade. They are literally two of my closest friends, and I'm so happy that my first match was against them because they made sure I was safe the entire time. They made sure to calm me down and be like, "Listen, you're okay." Same thing with George South. Was very lucky that it was for his birthday show, and he's like, "Baby doll, listen, you're going to be okay. You're meant to be in this business. You're born to be a star. You're going to do amazing." And he was the first person that found me right after the match, and he hugged me so tight, and he's like, "I'm so proud of you."
No, I love hearing that too, especially because we've seen, like, obviously, I've had a few encounters with Brittany Jade in singles action. I mean, Ella Envy, we're talking about someone who's been a champion in NWA. Like, we're talking about some pretty big names along the Mid-Atlantic scene. So, obviously, it comes as no surprise that you've been around there quite a few times. We've seen you do Ladies Night Out. We've seen you do, obviously, FWE.
Yes.
Casually just, recent women's champion.
I got the bad boy right here. Just won this on my 1 year of wrestling, actually.
Yeah, so that is amazing. Quite the feat. I can only imagine, like, just how much you've grown from your first match to now, too, because you've really made towns. I mean, it's hard to think of places that you haven't been because you really have been going completely, like, up and down the entire East Coast.
I'm trying to prove to everybody that I'm meant to be in this business, and I'm not just a pretty face. I worked my butt off, and I remember winning this championship, and I had Con O'Kelly, one of my favorite people in the entire world.
The recipient of my first promo ever.
He's actually the one that handed me the belt, and I was emotional. He was emotional. It was just very emotional. This title means a lot to me because it was all my 1 year, and it was against two people that are amazing in the ring, and I was grateful to be able to work with them. And I am on the road to being a reigning and defending champion. So come February 3rd, we'll see who my opponent is.
Oh God, where are you planning out for the new year too? I mean, you've definitely had a few encounters even after winning that championship that shows just how confident in your abilities you've been. I'm thinking about a little thing called Bree Championship Wrestling. Little bad girl action over there. So
what you talking about? The hairspray just slipped in my hand.
Yeah, what about the fur coat?
Fur coat, it fit perfect, so I had to try it on, and it matched my nails. Did you think I was going to deny it?
I mean, if the shoe fits or if the coat fits, I mean, you have to wear it. I mean, we did see another fabulous lady in red over at BCW, one of your favorite road warriors, everybody's favorite correspondent, Samira. I mean, you two have been not only just for shows this past year, but I mean, even like just casually. I know, like, we finally all got to meet last year in Dallas for WrestleMania, and it's you, Samira, Malcolm, Muscle Man Malcolm, LJ, just like
Erica,
a good group of people. Erica Wrestling. Like, how did that friendship kind of spawn with you and Samira?
Me and Samira have been friends since like 2018, probably. It's rather 2018 or 2019. It's one of the two. And we met for the first time at WrestleMania 35, maybe? The one in New York.
Yeah, it was 35.
So we met for the first time there. We really didn't get to hang out a lot. So in Dallas, like, we just got super close. And now, like, we've been to Nashville together. We've been to New Jersey, Philadelphia, Florida. And it's crazy to see that this is our life now. It's absolutely mind-blowing.
And I love that it's like also like the cool like contrast of like, yeah, she's been doing all this broadcast stuff. You guys are killing it in the ring. So like kind of separate journeys, but you can kind of go through them together and share your experiences with each other too.
Like, it's always a pleasure to see her like at BCW Recombination. It's always a pleasure to see her because it's crazy that we've grown up together and now we're living our dreams together.
Yeah, and I think one of my favorite things that you've also would live together was a karaoke night in Dallas too. Pretty cool venue we went to. One side it was some square dancing. The other side was karaoke hosted by a drag queen, where you and Samira may have befriended the bouncer at the establishment.
I love that bouncer. I loved that bouncer. So to put in perspective, y'all don't know, I'm very country. So my song of choice to sing was Good Girl by Carrie Underwood. And we had to wait. I think it was like 2 hours.
It was 3
hours. It was like an hour and a half, 2 hours. 3 hours?
It was 3 hours because Erica and Ella had to leave early. And I was, because I put in the song before you guys did. And I was just like,
oh, yeah.
We're never going up. We're never going up.
I just remember waiting so long. So that's when we became besties with the bouncer. And all I remember is going up there and singing and seeing the bouncer in the back. Just like, you got it. And I'm like, oh, God. And the video, I know that I somehow went live on Instagram. So the video is somewhere in this universe.
I feel like I have something on my highlight from Dallas on my Instagram,
you definitely
too.
Do.
Yeah, I know. I definitely have Samir singing Mamma Mia. And then I'm sure somewhere there's footage buried of me singing Breathin' by Ariana Grande. Because I'm like, hey, if I'm going to do karaoke, I'm going to do the extra shit.
Period. That's why I did Good Girl. I was getting into that.
God, we are overdue for another karaoke session. I mean, a place that usually has a little bit of karaoke fun sometimes, especially after the convention's done, is a little thing called WrestleCade. So this is your second WrestleCade as a active performer?
Yes, it is. And it's my third WrestleCade altogether.
God, that's crazy to think, because I think it was last year at WrestleCade you had just your second match ever at Ladies Night Out. So, yes. I mean, how did that come about? Because it was also your first time wrestling in front of Maria as well, too, I believe.
Yes. So thankfully, the promoter trusted me enough, because I told him, I was like, listen, I've only had one match, but I'm willing to do anything you ask me to do. And I ended up being in like a battle royal gauntlet match. It was kind of weird, but I ended up being the final entrant. I got the biggest pop and I was like, my people know who I am. So I only lasted like a minute.
Yeah, I was gonna say, it's a shame like you won in swinging, but boy, did you go out quick.
Listen. Like, this year is going to be a lot better. I promise you that. But wrestling in front of Maria, her heart was so full because I didn't even know she was there until I got to the back and I saw her. And she was like, did you just wrestle? I went, yeah. She was like, I'm going to cry. Like, this, like, is so full circle, not only for you, but it is for me. And I was like, stop. She was like, I remember you telling me back in April you were going down to train, and now here you are living your dream just like you told me you were going to do. So she's a sweetheart. I love her.
No, she's one of the best too. And the power of the tongue, people, you got to manifest the stuff that you want to go after, because you too can find your championship in whatever it is. It doesn't have to be in the ring. Although chances are that you might have something improved this weekend, because I believe there is another Ladies Night Out show. I mean, you're going to be in the area. Who's to say that you can't stun the crowd like you usually do?
I'm booked for Ladies Night Out, but a match. I think I might feel like going after somebody in a major company. I feel like I should do that.
I mean, I'm going to be tuned into the Title Match Network to find out what exactly is going to be going on over there, because unfortunately I will not be at WrestleCade. Won't be at Survivor Series either. I'm just going to be home. But hey, you know what? We're going to be rooting for the Stunner. That's for damn sure.
Please root for me. Please.
I mean, it's crazy to think that we're already at the end of 2023. I mean, aside from obviously February, you will be defending your FWE Women's Championship. I mean, anything else that you would want to manifest for this new year?
for the new year, I want to wrestle for GCW wrestling at least once. I'm determined. I love GCW. Some people hate it. I love it. All my friends are there, so I absolutely love it. I also want to face, I just actually tweeted the other day a bunch of my dream matches I want to have in 2024. Some of them include Zeta Steel as a round 2 because we have both improved so much in the past year. I would love to face her again. I would also love to face Nyla Rose. I love that girl to death.
God, just the shit talking alone would be so good.
I know. And Brooke Havoc is definitely up there. For GCW, I would love to face Sawyer Wreck or Masha Slamovich. Like, I would absolutely love it.
I mean, within GCW, those are 2 mainstays, so you kind of have to prove yourself against. So,
yes, so I would love to face those 2. And my ultimate dream match forever will always be Liv Morgan. That is my girl for life. I would absolutely love to roll around in the ring with her at some point. So,
I mean, we know she has a new ring in her barn, so who's to say that you can't just watch her, but maybe roll around with her? You never know.
Might just hit her up and make that happen.
Yeah, champion to champion conversations, casual NBD. So, yeah, I mean, I'm excited for all you have in store this coming year. Hopefully make your way around towards where I can see you wrestle finally. Maybe someone they've had a little history with over at MCW. I know there's one Miss Christina Marie, who's a pretty big mainstay around here.
I would love to mix it up with Christina. Last time me and her got in a ring together, it was a tag match, and the girl speared me. We're not done, girl. We are not done. She distracted me and then speared me. This is not cool.
I mean, I'm just saying you do know your way around a stunner, so I guess turnabout's fair play. But I mean, in the meantime, where can people find you?
They can find me on all socials at Emily J Pro, and if you are around the Texas area, I'll be at Mission Pro Wrestling on December 9th.
What a way to close out the year, I believe, too. I mean, we're seeing Thunder Rosa getting ready to make her return to wrestling. Mission Pro's been killing it with so much talent down there. People like Jasmine Allure comes to mind immediately. Just, you're in a good spot if you're wrestling in Mission Pro. They are really doing women's wrestling well right now.
Yes, I absolutely love them.
But yes, thank you for joining me, Emily. I'm excited for everything that you've done so far, what's to come. For anyone that wants to keep up with my shenanigans, JoseOnTheAir.com has all my socials. Stay tuned to the YouTube channel. Give it a like, comment, subscribe. Share this wherever you share your normal podcasts and video sharing. And I will see you guys soon. Take care, everybody.